Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something huge. I mean, it affects pretty much everyone. It's this relentless chase for happiness.
Yeah, that constant pressure to feel good.
Exactly. And we're using Russ Harris's book, The Happiness Trap, as our guide. It's really the go-to book for acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT.
Right. And our mission here, really, is to unpack what happiness even means. Because Harris points out this paradox, doesn't he? The harder you chase feeling good all the time.
The worse you end up feeling. It sounds counterintuitive.
It really does.
Yeah.
But we're not looking for some, quick feel-good trick.
Right.
We're digging into the tools ACT offers to build a genuinely rich, meaningful life. That's more like the old Greek idea of eudaimonia.
Flourishing, yeah. And it's timely, too, because we're mostly drawing from the second edition of the book, the one from 2022.
Oh, yeah, that's key.
He updated like over half of it, added new stuff like the TAME technique, more on self-compassion, habits, procrastination. Really relevant now.
Definitely. It's ACT for right now.
So to even understand why we need something like ACT, we kind of have to face facts first, right? About being human.
Absolutely. Start with reality, life.
Yeah.
Well, life isn't easy. It's difficult. Harris doesn't sugarcoat it. He throws some pretty stark statistics at you early on.
Like what?
Like, in any given year, about 1 in 10 adults is dealing with clinical depression, and almost half of us will seriously think about suicide at some point. That's heavy.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, there's joy, absolutely, but angst, dread, despair, they're part of the package, too. They just are.
Which leads straight into busting one of the big myths, doesn't it? This idea that if you're not happy, something's wrong with you.
Myth number 2, yeah. If you're not happy, you're defective. It's a pervasive idea.
But ACT just flips that completely. It says if you're having tough thoughts, difficult feelings, you're not defective. You're just normal.
You're human. That's the baseline assumption. And that leads us right to the next big problem ACT tackles. This illusion we have that we can and should control how we feel inside.
Ah, the control agenda.
Exactly. Like, try this little experiment Harris suggests for the next, say, coming seconds. Try really hard not to think about chocolate ice cream or your favorite flavor, whatever.
Okay, I'm trying and failing. Yep. Chocolate ice cream.
See? You can't just not think something by command. The brain doesn't work like that. There's no delete button for thoughts or feelings. You can't just tell anxiety, okay, switch off now.
And there's a deep evolutionary reason for that, isn't there? Our minds are kind of built to worry.
For sure. 300,000 years of evolution wired us to spot threats, solve problems. That often looks like worry, planning, criticism. It's a survival mechanism, deep-seated stuff.
So trying to suppress it is like fighting gravity.
Pretty much. And it often backfires. It leads to what psychologists call the rebound effect. You try to shove down a thought or feeling.
And it comes back later, maybe even stronger.
Exactly. Stronger, more frequent. The very act of trying not to feel it gives it more power. So the default strategy, struggling against the difficult stuff, is just fundamentally unworkable in the long run.
Okay, so if struggling doesn't work, we need a different goal. That brings us to rethinking happiness itself. You mentioned 2 types.
Right. Harris draws this really important distinction. First, there's hedemonia. That's the common idea of happiness chasing pleasant feelings. Pleasure, fun, excitement.
The quick hits, the sugar rush.
Yeah, exactly. Feels good short term, sure.
Yeah.
But Harris argues basing your life purely on chasing those fleeting feelings. It leads to feeling pretty empty, actually. Unsatisfying.
So what's the alternative then?
The ACT aim is eudaimonia. That's the second meaning. It's not about feeling good all the time. It's about living a life that's rich, full, and meaningful. Flourishing.
And that kind of life includes the tough stuff too.
It has to. Because often, the things that give life meaning, relationships, challenging work, standing up for something, they naturally bring difficult feelings along with them. Anxiety, frustration, even sadness. Eudaimonia embraces the whole spectrum.
Okay, so how do we move towards that kind of life, towards eudaimonia?
That's where the core ACT principle of workability comes in. It's a really practical filter. For any action you take, you ask, is this workable? Meaning, is this action moving me towards the kind of person I want to be, towards a life that matters to me? Or is it moving me away?
Right, the toward moves and away moves. Can you break down the away moves a bit more? Because sometimes they feel like they're helping, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. That's the tricky part, the essence of the trap. An away move is basically anything you do to avoid or get rid of unwanted thoughts and feelings. But that, in the long run, keeps you stuck or makes life worse.
Right.
Like, say, worrying constantly. It feels like you're being responsible, trying to figure things out. But if all that worrying stops you from actually, doing something about the problem or engaging in things you value,
Yeah.
then it's an away move. It's avoidance disguised as problem solving.
Or hitting the snooze button to avoid a difficult task versus hitting it on vacation.
Perfect example. Same action, different function. One's workable. On vacation, it's respiratory move. The other might be unworkable avoidance, an away move.
So psychological suffering, then, is like this loop. Difficult thoughts or feelings show up. Harris calls them hooks. They grab us.
They hook us.
And we react with these unworkable away moves. He mentions two main ways we get hooked: obey and struggle.
Exactly. Struggle mode is when you actively fight the thought or feeling. You try to wrestle it into submission, push it away, argue with it, which, as we said, usually backfires.
And obey mode.
Obey mode is when you just automatically believe the thought and act as if it's an order. You take it as the absolute truth and let it dictate what you do.
Can you give an example, like the Joe and Maria examples in the book?
Yeah, those are good. So Joe has the thought, if I go to that party, I'll just make a fool of myself and be rejected. If he obeys that thought, he stays home, maybe scrolls through social media feeling lonely.
Which probably makes him feel more rejected later.
Precisely. It's an away move driven by obeying the hook. Or Maria feels really anxious about a work presentation. She has the thought, I can't handle this feeling, I need a drink to calm down. If she obeys that, pours a drink.
That might reduce the anxiety for a bit, but it's likely unworkable long term. It causes other problems.
Exactly. It makes things worse down the line. Both are away moves.
This really highlights the choice point diagram Harris uses. It's such a useful visual.
It is. It shows that moment when the hook appears, the difficult thought or feeling. And potentially right there, you have a choice.
You can go down the path of the away move struggle, obey, avoid, get stuck.
Or you can choose a different path, the toward move.
Right.
An action that's effective, that aligns with your values, that enhances your life, even if it's uncomfortable.
And this is the crucial bit. You only really have that choice if you've developed some skills, right? The unhooking skills.
That's the key. Without those skills, we just get automatically yanked into the away moves. Developing the skills creates the space for choice.
Okay, so let's talk about those skills. Dropping the struggle. The quicksand analogy comes to mind.
Yeah, it's a classic ACT metaphor. You fall into quicksand, your instinct is to thrash around, to struggle violently.
Which just pulls you down faster.
Right. The only way to survive is to stop struggling, spread your weight, lie flat. It's counterintuitive, but it works. ACT says emotional quicksand is similar. Struggling makes it worse. We need to learn to drop the struggle.
And he uses that hands as thoughts experiment too, doesn't he? Holding the book out.
Right. Imagine your difficult thoughts are written in a heavy book. Trying to hold that book out at arm's length, constantly pushing it away, it's exhausting. You can't focus on anything else.
But if you just gently lower your arms, let the book rest on your lap.
The thoughts are still there, the book is still present, but it's not consuming all your energy. You're not fighting it. You've dropped the struggle. You can engage with the world again.
So how do we practice dropping the struggle when, say, an emotional storm hits? Harris offers the ACE formula.
ACE, simple, powerful. ACEA is for acknowledging.
Which means?
Just noticing and naming what's showing up inside you, but without judgment. So instead of, oh no, anxiety again, I hate this, it's more like, okay, noticing anxiety. Or here's the thought that I'm not good enough.
Just labeling it gently.
Gently, yeah, like a curious scientist observing the weather. Anxiety is present. This actually helps engage the thinking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, giving you a bit of distance.
Okay, so acknowledge what's C.
C is for connect. Connect with your body. Briefly bring your awareness back to your physical self. You could wiggle your toes, press your feet into the floor, stretch, push your palms together firmly. Anything that grounds you in the here and now.
Re-inhabit your body, basically. Get out of your head for a second.
Exactly. And then E is for engage.
Engage with what?
Engage with what you're doing. Refocus your attention fully on the task at hand or on the world around you. If you were reading, go back to reading. If you were talking to someone, really listen. If you're just sitting, notice the sights and sounds. Move your attention from the inner storm back to the present moment.
Acknowledge, connect, engage. ACE. It sounds doable.
It is. It takes practice like any skill, but it's very actionable.
What about getting unhooked specifically from thoughts? Those sticky, repetitive ones, that's diffusion, right?
Right. Diffusion is core to ACT. The aim isn't to get rid of the thought or even to challenge if it's true. The aim is to see the thought for what it is.
Yeah.
Just words and pictures in your head.
Not a literal truth or a command you have to follow.
Precisely. To lessen its impact, its influence over your behavior. And Harris suggests some quite playful ways to do this.
Like singing your thoughts.
Yeah. Musical thoughts. Take that critical thought, I'm such an idiot, and sing it out loud, maybe to the tune of Happy Birthday or something equally silly. I'm such an idiot, I'm such an idiot. It sounds absurd,
It does.
but it changes your relationship to the thought. It highlights its nature as just words. Or using silly voices. Imagine your inner critic speaking in the voice of Daffy Duck, or maybe that screeching mother from Monty Python's Life of Brian.
Okay, picturing my anxiety telling me I'm going to fail in a cartoon voice. It does kind of take the sting out of it.
It can, yeah. Or playing with text. Write the thought down, maybe change the font, the color, add spaces between letters. THISISAWORRY. Again, it helps you see it as just language.
But hang on, what if the thought is true, like I didn't prepare enough for this meeting? Singing that feels like, I don't know, denial.
That's the key question that people always ask. And the ACT response is brilliant, I think.
Yeah.
It's not about truth, it's about helpfulness.
Okay.
Or workability.
Okay.
Explain. Is believing that thought, getting hooked by I didn't prepare enough, and then maybe beating yourself up or avoiding the meeting, is that helpful? Does it move you towards being the kind of professional you want to be?
No, probably not. It would likely lead to an away move, like ruminating or calling in sick.
Exactly. So even if the thought has a grain of truth, if fusing with it leads to unworkable actions, then diffusing is useful. Diffusion doesn't mean the thought vanishes. It means it loses its power to boss you around. You can see the thought, acknowledge any truth in it in helpful, and still choose a spot play toward move. Like, okay, acknowledging that thought. Now, what's one small thing I can do to prepare, even with limited time?
Got it. It's about changing the function of the thought, not arguing its validity. What about strong feelings or urges, like panic or cravings? The new edition talks about TAME.
Yeah, TAME is a lovely acronym for deepening acceptance of difficult emotions or physical sensations. T is take note. Just observe the feeling. Where is it in your body? What does it feel like?
Like the A in ACE.
Similar, yeah, but maybe a bit more focused on the physical sensation. Then A is allow. This is key. Consciously give the feeling permission to be there. Stop fighting it. You don't have to like it, but you stop resisting its presence.
Okay, TAM.
M is make room. Imagine creating space around the feeling in your body. Soften the muscles around it. Breathe into it, almost like you're making space for an uncomfortable guest.
Instead of tensing up against it.
Exactly. And E is expand awareness, while allowing the feeling. Also notice what else is present. Expand your focus beyond the discomfort. Notice your feet on the floor, the sounds in the room, your breath flowing in and out. See that the feeling is only one part of your experience, not the whole thing.
TAME. Take note. Allow. Make room. Expand awareness.
That sounds really helpful for intense waves of emotion.
It is. And it links beautifully with another technique for cravings or urges called urge surfing.
Urge surfing, like riding a wave.
Precisely. Marla and Gordon coined that term. The idea is that urges for food, cigarettes, alcohol, procrastination, whatever, behave like ocean waves. They build up, they get stronger, they reach a peak.
The crest.
The crest, and then if you don't act on them or fight them too hard, they naturally subside, they pass.
How long does that usually take? Harris points out research suggesting most urges, if you just allow them and ride them out using skills like TAME, will peak and start to fade within about 3 minutes.
3 minutes? That's surprisingly short.
It often feels longer when you're in it. But the skill is learning to surf that wave using TAME, breathing, making room, without getting wiped out, acting on the urge, or trying to push the wave back, fighting it, just riding it until it passes.
Okay, so we've got unhooking skills, ACE, diffusion, TAME, urge surfing. These help us create that choice point. But what guides the choice? What makes something a rule? Toward move. That's where values come in, right?
Absolutely central. Values in ACT aren't goals. They're not rules or morals imposed from outside. They are your chosen qualities of ongoing action, how you want to behave on your journey through life.
Like kindness or courage or being loving or responsible.
Exactly. There are directions you want to head in, like heading west. You never arrive at west, you just keep heading west. You can never perfectly achieve kindness, but you can always act kindly in this moment.
And that makes them instantly accessible, doesn't it? Even in really tough situations.
That's the power of it. Harris uses that stark example, someone in a refugee camp. They might not have the goal of leaving anytime soon. That's outside their control. But they can choose right now in the camp to act with courage or compassion towards others or persistence.
Wow.
Values give meaning and direction, regardless of the external circumstances. They empower you now.
So values are the direction, the how of the journey. Goals are more like the destinations along the way.
Perfect analogy. Goals are things you want to achieve or attain, get that job, find a partner, finish the project. Values define the kind of traveler you want to be on the way to those destinations, and even if you don't reach a specific destination.
Like wanting to be a loving partner, value, on the journey towards finding a relationship, goal.
Exactly. You can practice being loving, kind, and open today, even if you're single. You live the value right now.
Okay, so living by values, choosing toward moves. It's not always easy. Life throws challenges at us. Harris has a formula for that too, right? The challenge formula.
He does. When you're facing a really difficult, ongoing situation, a tough job, a chronic illness, a difficult relationship, you basically have three options.
Speaking one.
Leave, if it's possible, and if leaving is workable and aligns with your values, then changing the situation might be the best toward move.
Okay, option 2.
Stay and live by your values. This means accepting the parts you can't change, making room for the pain that comes with it, treating yourself with compassion, and focusing on what you can do. How can you act on your values within this difficult situation? What small steps can you take to improve things or just to be the person you want to be while facing it?
That sounds like the core ACT approach, acceptance and commitment.
It is. And option 3.
Let me guess. Stay and make things worse.
You got it. Stay and give up or get hooked by away moves. Struggle against the situation futilely, blame others, numb out, resign yourself. Basically, act in ways that move you away from your values and likely increase your suffering.
So choosing option 2, stay and live by values, is often the path. But it's hard. What gets in the way? The hard barriers.
Yes. These are the common obstacles that derail us when we try to take values-guided action. H is for hooked.
Hooked by thoughts and feelings, like we talked about. Getting snagged by anxiety or self-doubt.
Right. A is for avoiding discomfort. Being unwilling to feel the difficult emotions that often come with doing important things. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, just plain old discomfort.
Yeah.
Remoteness from values. You've lost touch with why you're doing this difficult thing. The value driving the action feels distant or unclear, so your motivation drops.
Makes sense. And D?
D is for doubtful goals. Maybe the goals linked to your values are too big, too vague, or not well defined. Or maybe they're framed negatively as dead person's goals.
What's a dead person's goal?
It's a goal about not doing something. Like, I won't procrastinate or I won't eat junk food. Harris points out, a dead person is great at not doing things.
Right.
A live person's goal is about what you will do. I will work on the report for 25 minutes, or I will eat a piece of fruit with lunch. It's active, observable behavior.
And starting small is key, right? Like the sculptor chipping away.
Crucial. Break those values-driven goals down into tiny, manageable steps. Small successes build momentum.
And underpinning all of this, the unhooking, the values, the action is self-compassion. That seems really important in the updated book.
Hugely important. ACT isn't about being tough and robotic.
Yeah.
It's about being human. Self-compassion isn't self-indulgence or self-pity. It's treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a good friend who is suffering.
Kind words, kind gestures.
Kind words, kind hands, kind deeds, as Kristen Neff puts it. When you stumble, when you get hooked, instead of beating yourself up.
Which just hooks you more.
Exactly. Instead, you acknowledge the pain. This is hard right now. Offer yourself some warmth and understand it's okay. Lots of people struggle with this. And gently encourage yourself back towards your values. Harris uses the analogy of the harsh coach versus the supportive coach.
The harsh coach yelling and criticizing might work short-term out of fear.
But it leads to burnout, injury, and resentment. The supportive coach, offering encouragement and specific feedback, that builds skill and motivation sustainably. Self-compassion is that supportive inner coach.
Okay, this has been a deep dive indeed. Let's try to boil it down. What are the core principles of ACT, the psychological flexibility we're aiming for?
Harris summarizes it beautifully as 3 pillars.
Yeah.
First,
Be present.
use those skills like ACE and TAME to connect with the here and now, engage fully with what you're doing.
Exactly. Second, open up.
Make room for difficult thoughts and feelings. Unhook from them using diffusion and acceptance skills. Let them flow through without letting them dictate your actions. See them as just inner experiences, not commands.
Well put. And third, do what matters.
Let your values guide your actions. Choose toward moves. Take committed steps, even small ones, in the direction of the life you want to live, even when it's hard.
Be present. Open up. Do what matters. That's psychological flexibility in a nutshell. So for you listening, the journey really starts with accepting that a meaningful life isn't free of pain. It includes struggle.
And every time you notice your hook caught by that inner critic, overwhelmed by an urge, lost in worry, that's a choice point. It's an opportunity to practice.
An opportunity to use ACE or diffusion or TAME to unhook just enough to choose a note. Toward move, however small.
Exactly. It's about building that muscle of choosing values over avoidance.
We should end with that incredible insight Harris mentions from Viktor Frankl, writing about his experiences in concentration camps.
Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. Frankl observed that even in the most horrific circumstances, there was one freedom no one could take away.
Which was?
The last of the human freedoms.
Yeah.
To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way.
Wow.
So the challenge, really, for all of us, for you listening, is how can you use these ACT principles today, right now, facing whatever difficulties you're facing? How can you choose your way forward, guided by what truly matters to you?